everybody. Welcome to Learning the Scottish Great Highland Bagpipe with me, J.D. Ingram, pipe major of the Charleston Pipe Band. This week we're going to be learning
Lesson 4, Grace Notes between different notes. Your goal in this lesson is to be able to play any grace note between two different notes. This includes separating two like notes or accentuating a transition between two different notes. Focus on playing a clean grace note between two different notes and try playing the simple tunes introduced in this lesson. Your homework is to practice grace note scales. Extra resources are Sandy Jones' Beginning the Bagpipe, page 15 to 17, or the College of Piping Tutor, pages 20 to 23. Grace notes aren't only played between two of the same notes. Sometimes grace notes are added between two different notes to add a bit of a chirp and accentuate the transition from one note to the next. This is done because the Great Highland Bagpipes only play with one volume, or two if you count silent. Grace notes can accentuate certain important notes in a tune, just the same as a wind instrument player would tongue or blow harder, or a percussionist would hit the key or the drumhead harder. You want to make sure that the grace note acts as a bridge between two different notes. So if you're playing one note and then you play a grace note and then you make your transition, what you've done is you've broken up the first note. If you make a transition and then play your grace note, you've broken up the second note. What you have to do is focus on making the grace note occur between the first note and the second note to act as a bridge.
Alright, now we're going to talk about grace notes between different notes. Grace notes should act as a bridge when you're going from one note to another. You shouldn't hear a grace note breaking up either the first note or the second note. It should occur only between the two notes. This is something that's kind of hard to do early on. So let's start doing it very slowly. Let's say we're playing an A and we want to go to B with a high G grace note. We know the grace note's just a pointer finger tap, and going from A to B is just raising the ring finger. So it's super, super slow motion. We want to go. Do you see how we were playing an A, then we were playing the grace note, and then we were playing a B? What you don't want to hear is or right, where you could hear a little bit of A after the grace note or a little bit of B before the grace note. It's got to occur right on the transition. So I'll do it correctly again in super slow motion. A little faster. So in the end it should sound nice and crisp like that. And you can go all the way up the scale. The spot where people tend to have a lot of difficulty is hand-to-hand transitions, or spots where you've got a lot of fingers moving. For instance, if you're going from low A up to D. That can occur as well. Practice through all the different note combinations, doing them with your G grace notes, D grace notes, and E grace notes. So we could go or with your D grace note and your E grace note. Alright, keep up the good work.
Now we're going to try some sample music with grace notes added between different notes for clarity. You'll notice that this is London Bridges Falling Down that we've practiced before in lessons 2 and 3, but we've added a few grace notes for musical quality.
Alright, back to London Bridges Falling Down. We've learned this one twice now with slightly different interpretations for musical clarity. Here is the final version we'll learn. It's got grace notes added for musical quality that accentuate beats 1 and beats 3. And you've also got the grace notes that are necessary to break up repeated notes. We'll jump right into it. It should sound something like this.
Here's Happy Birthday again, with more grace notes added for musical quality. You should recognize the exact same rhythms that we saw in Lesson 3.
Here's Happy Birthday again, with a few extra grace notes for musical quality. Now we're accentuating the key notes, as well as breaking up notes where necessary. You'll notice this mostly affects us in bars 1, 2, and 4 is where you see the most grace notes. So watch out for those. And then also keep in mind what we talked about in Lesson 2, no crossing noises, and good rhythmic execution. Here we go, playing Happy Birthday together. Happy birthday indeed.
Here's Mary Had a Little Lamb again from Lesson 3. We've added a few grace notes for musical quality as well.
All right, let's look back at Mary Had a Little Lamb, but with extra grace notes for added musical quality. This is mostly adding grace notes to the bars that aren't little lamb over with the same note repeated. So we're adding grace notes to the other bars now. Playing along, nice and slow, no crossing noises, and good rhythmic accuracy when we get to the one dotted note in the third to last bar. Here we go. Good job.
Thanks for joining me again. Some final thoughts for you today. Practice your grace notes between all sorts of different notes. An easy way to do this is practicing your grace note scales. You can also go back to note transition warm-ups from Lesson 1 and put grace notes in between all of the notes there. Also look into your supplemental materials, either Sandy Jones, Beginning the Bagpipe, pages 15 to 17, or the College of Piping Tutor, Part 1, pages 20 to 23.